I went to recovery groups for months while I was still shooting heroin. I went to church while I was still an atheist. I acted like I had faith before I believed a word of it. I know how crazy that sounds, but sometimes you gotta live like the person you're becoming before you even believe that you deserve to become them. And that's exactly how I got over 4 years clean. Hey, it's Logan. I'm walking in these woods today because I want to talk to you about something important. And it's fitting that we're walking together because that's exactly what this principle is about. You've probably heard of the phrase, fake it till you make it before. And to be honest, that principle saved my life. But I want to give you a better way of thinking about it. Walking in it until it becomes real. See, I didn't wait until I felt like a person in recovery to start acting like one. I didn't wait until I believed that it would work. I didn't wait until I felt ready or confident or even worthy. I just started showing up, taking the steps, doing the behaviors. Even when I was still using, even when I didn't believe, even when I felt like a complete fraud. I just kept walking. And here's what I know from over 4 years of this working for me. The feelings don't come first, the behaviors do. You don't wait to feel ready. You start walking and the readiness catches up. You don't wait until you believe it will work. You act like it will and watch the belief follow. You walk in it until it becomes real. This principle didn't just save my life with my recovery. It saved my faith when I had none. It saved my relationships when they were destroyed. It saved my ability to love and be loved. And it's saving my purpose right now. When I started, I was a full-blown heroin addict. Homeless, hopeless, fired from my job. I was convinced that recovery wasn't for people like me. I already failed at it so many times before. But I would go to meetings and I'd see other people stand up to collect their clean time, and I'd think, there's no way that's ever going to be me. But I went anyways. I went while I was still using. When it came time for me to share, I'd say I'm Logan and I'm an addict. And I'd usually pass afterwards. But I'd listen to people share about hope and freedom, even though I didn't believe that it would work for me. I kept showing up. I kept learning the steps. I kept learning the behaviors. I felt like a fraud, but I kept walking in it anyways. Months went by, still using, but still showing up. But then came my lowest moment, rock bottom, a detox bed, shaking, sweating, worst shape of my life. In desperation, I cried out to Jesus for help. And that's where grace finally met me. Not when I was strong, but when I finally gave up pretending. All those months of showing up, even when I didn't believe, created the foundation for that moment to happen. The breakthrough happened because when I finally surrendered, I knew exactly where to turn to. Those months weren't wasted. They taught me the language of recovery, and they showed me what real hope looked like. They prepared the ground for real change to happen. I faked being a person in recovery while I was still using, and that positioned me to actually get into recovery. When I first felt Jesus in that detox bed, I didn't understand him. I didn't understand grace. I didn't understand why he'd even bother with someone like me. But I started walking in faith anyways. I started going to church, not knowing what I was doing. I'd smile and nod whenever someone quoted a scripture that I'd never heard about. I'd whisper prayers that felt like they were bouncing off the ceiling. I'd open up my Bible and struggle to even comprehend a single word out of it. But I kept showing up. I would sing even though I didn't feel it yet. I joined small groups even though it made me feel like an imposter. I asked questions that, quite frankly, embarrassed me. But slowly, the showing up started to change something inside of me. Those prayers that once felt empty and unanswered carried peace with them. And those words that seemed so foreign started to speak life to me. Over time, the faking it actually turned into real faith. And the relationship that started out of desperation has turned into something so real. And now I cannot imagine my life without Jesus. Years of addiction had destroyed everything. My family didn't trust me, and honestly, they had every right not to. I'd lied, destroyed, disappeared. But before I could start rebuilding my relationship with them, I had to deal with my loneliness. I'd been single for 7 years, and this girl came into my life from my past. She would do drugs right in front of me, a direct threat to my recovery. But I would just tell myself this is what I deserve. I acted like the abuse was love because being alone felt like it would be so much worse. For months, I knew that I needed to block her. And finally, I did, but it hurt like hell. The silence after that decision was so heavy, but that silence became the place where I could heal. At the same time, I started rebuilding trust with my family, showing up, keeping the commitments that I made, being honest even when it hurt. And slowly, little by little, trust started to grow again. I walked in trustworthiness until it became real. After blocking that toxic relationship, I was alone again. 7 years single, now back to square one. And I really thought that that chapter of my life was over. Everything in me believed that I didn't deserve to find love. But then I met her. She told me right away that she didn't want a relationship, and honestly, I understood that. She had been walking her own trail too. She had been single for 7 years as well, learning to heal, to trust, to grow. And honestly, in a lot of ways, our relationship has been a walking process too. We've both had to learn communication and grace and patience with each other, one step at a time. But there's no one I'd rather have as my walking partner. Before her, I thought my story had already peaked, that recovery was the only miracle that I'd ever get. Most people don't even get one miracle, but then love showed up. And somehow, she didn't just help heal me, she reminded me why I started walking in the first place. Loving her reignited that flame that had almost burned out. She believed in me, believed in my purpose, even when I didn't believe it myself. Every time she smiles, it's like God Himself is personally reminding me, this is what redemption looks like. Our relationship isn't perfect. It's a walk. But every step makes me want to walk in my purpose harder, love deeper, and never go back to who I was before. At first, I loved her quietly. No pressure, no demands, gently. I just kept showing up with love. I walked in the belief that something beautiful could grow from it, and then it did. And now we have the kind of relationship I never thought possible, the kind of peace that I used to pray for but didn't think that I deserved. From 7 years of loneliness and heartbreak to this moment of calm with the person that I prayed for, that's what walking in love until it becomes real looks like. When I started this YouTube journey, I had no idea what I was doing. I still don't, to be honest. I didn't start it because I had all the answers. I started because I had scars, and I thought maybe, just maybe, my scars can become someone else's survival guide. But it's not been easy. Doubt still creeps in. I don't have a lot of confidence on camera. I don't have all these skills that I need to be a successful creator. It's all been a learning process. And some days the growth is slow, nobody's watching. But then on my last video, I had a guy with a month clean comment that my video had words he needed to hear. And that's what this is all about, man. That one comment makes all of this worth it. And then something amazing happened. The people at my recovery group saw my testimony video on YouTube, and they liked it so much that they asked me to share it at their anniversary celebration. So this week, I got to go in front of the very group that saved my life and tell them my story. I was so nervous going in, but I had been waiting for and daydreaming about that moment for years, unsure if it would ever come. But YouTube opened that door for me. At this point, you might be asking, isn't this just being fake? Isn't this just lying to yourself and lying to others? So let me be completely clear with you. There's a huge difference between faking it and walking in it. Faking it is pretending that you've already arrived, while walking in it is doing the behaviors of the person you want to become while still being honest about that gap between you and that person. When I went to meetings still using, I told people I'm here, but I don't have it together yet. When I went to church, I told people I love Jesus with all my heart and I believe in him, but I don't know if the rest of this stuff makes sense yet. I told my family I want to be trustworthy, but I'm scared that I'm going to let you down again. When I blocked that toxic relationship, I admitted to myself, I don't know if I can handle being alone. And when I started this YouTube journey, I admitted I have no idea what I'm doing. That honesty about the gap is what keeps it authentic. Fake it till you make it isn't about pretending like you've already arrived. It's about acting like the person that you're becoming while still being honest about where you are. It's choosing behaviors that align with your goals even when your feelings don't match it yet. The fake part is temporary. You're building the real thing through practice. You're walking in it until it becomes real. Real authenticity includes admitting, I don't feel this way yet, but I'm choosing to act on it anyways. That's more honest than waiting to feel perfect before you start. You're not lying, you're growing. You're not being fake, you're becoming. So how can you use this principle? Ask yourself, where are you now and where do you want to be? What does that version of you do differently? What behaviors do they have? Be brutally honest about where you are right now, but then don't wait. Start doing those behaviors now. Do you want to be in recovery? Start going to meetings, even if you don't believe that it'll work. I went for months while I was still using. Want to have faith? Start praying, even if you're not sure that anyone's listening. You want healthy relationships? Start setting boundaries, even if you're terrified of being alone. Do you want to find love? Start pouring love out into the world, even if it's not being returned to you. Be patient, like I was with my girlfriend. Do you want to share your story? Start that YouTube channel. Even if no one's watching, that one comment will come. Walk in it until it becomes real. Tell people though, I'm here, but I'm struggling to believe. Admit, I don't feel this yet, but I'm choosing to act on it anyways. Share, I want to be this person, even though I don't feel like them yet. And say, I'm terrified, but I'm doing it anyways. The honesty keeps it authentic while the behaviors create change. The feelings will follow the behaviors. It won't happen overnight though. Some days you're going to feel like a fraud. Keep going. The breakthrough often comes only after months of showing up. Your actions are creating the foundation for real transformation to happen. Remember my timeline. I went to meetings for months while still using before breakthrough happened. I went to church for months before faith felt real. I showed up for my family for months before trust was rebuilt. I took months to break that trauma bond after blocking that toxic friend. And I posted videos with barely any viewers before that one life-changing comment came. I walked in it until it became real, but it took time. You don't have to wait until you feel ready. You don't have to wait until you believe it will work. You don't have to wait until you feel worthy. You don't have to wait until you feel confident. Just start walking in it today. What's one behavior that you can start today? In what way can you walk in it while being honest about the gap? Where in your life do you need to just show up instead of waiting to feel ready? If a homeless, hopeless heroin addict who didn't believe that recovery was possible can end up with over 4 years clean, if someone who accepted abuse because they were terrified of being alone can learn to put up boundaries and find real love, if someone who felt completely worthless can still pour out love into the world, if someone with 62 subscribers can still get invited to share their testimony at the group that saved their life, there's hope for you too. I just gave my testimony at my group's anniversary this week, and I was nervous as hell going in. But I've been walking in this for years, showing up to meetings even while I was still using, blocking people even when I was terrified, loving people even when it wasn't being returned, making videos even though no one was watching. And I got to stand in front of that group that saved my life and be that beacon of hope for someone else, someone who's sitting in those chairs who doesn't believe that recovery is possible. I walked in it until it became real. The person you want to become is on the other side of those behaviors that you're afraid to start. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to feel worthy. Stop waiting to feel confident. Start walking in it until it becomes real, and watch God meet you in the showing up. Drop a comment telling me one area that you need to start walking in it. And please subscribe if this resonated with you. Even though I only have 62 subscribers, your support still matters and means the world to me. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're that person with a month clean who left me that comment, thank you, brother. You're why I do this.